Make sure you fold it neatly so that you can have this surface very nice and presentable. When folding, try to always create a pattern. Like I just created a pattern with this silver edge. And you stretch, and then we'll begin to fold. Now this wrapping paper is going to be very interesting because we already have the lines, so we don't need to stress ourselves too much when we begin to fold and create the shape of the fan. Fold it this way, just fold it anyhow you want. Just make sure the end process is neat. So we can have something like this, and I bet you it's going to come out really nice. So your hand on it to dry it. If you feel a little bit lazy, you could just place anything. Like you could just place this on it and let it dry. I'm going to get this hair clip for my hair because I want to make the gift pack more personal. So I'm going to uncouple it and then attach it somewhere. You just personalize it doing this. You turn it around, and we'll still go ahead with the personalization process. So our butterfly is going to be somewhere. Check your 3D fabric paints to make sure the tip is open, because sometimes they get blocked, and when they get blocked, when you write, the writing gets wobbled. So okay, that means we're good to go.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for our people.
Comprehensive probe of Maiduguri Mandi market fire.
The state government has provided the immediate humanitarian support of 1 billion naira.
President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu promises to strengthen Nigeria's unity.
It's going to be a clear government guided by the rule of law, justice, and fairness.
Presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, to challenge results of last Saturday's election in court.
This is not the end. for the beginning of the journey for a birth of new Nigeria.
And Good Morning Nigeria today continues a review of the presidential elections.
All right, so the presidential and National Assembly elections have come and gone. We can confidently say that, but the dust is yet to settle, at least in the political landscape. That's even as the governorship and state houses of assembly elections are still ahead.
Of course, Clay, I'm sure the dust you're talking about has to do with the fact that we now have a president-elect, but two of the candidates in the election, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP and Peter Obi, have now indicated their intention to challenge the outcome of the elections. And of course, they will be doing this in the courts.
That's right. So what that means is that we're not having a repeat scenario of that, historic phone call, which former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan had to make to President Muhammadu Buhari. Of course, when his election, victory was declared, to congratulate him as winner of the 2015 presidential election and conceding defeat in that election. So, in this particular case, Peter Obi of the Labour Party, of course, and Atiku Abubakar say their parties will explore legal and peaceful options to reclaim what they call their respective mandates.
Of course, that is why the courts are there for such purposes, Claire, and Peter Obi is certainly not new to litigation. And we recall that it took him almost 3 years to emerge as governor of Anambra, and that was in 2016, following the governorship election of 2003. 2006 he became governor. He had a legal battle that lasted for 3 years against Chris Ngige. And of course, that then led to the staggering, as it were, of elections in different parts of the country. Now, what is worthy of mention is that while Peter Obi is ready for the fireworks this time around, he's asked his supporters to be calm and peaceful, while even observing a 1-minute silence for all injured victims in the February 25th polls.
Meanwhile, the president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has continued to receive torrents of congratulatory messages from leaders across the world who have indicated readiness to work with him towards achieving national objectives, as well as strengthen bilateral relationships between the various countries.
Now, there's also been growing advocacy among eminent Nigerians for the spirit of sportsmanship to be displayed by the contestants after the outcome of last Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections.
All right, so on Good Morning Nigeria today, we'll continue with our conversations on reviewing the presidential and National Assembly elections. It has come, it has gone, but as we said earlier, the dust is yet to settle. So should the winner take it all, as usual, or be magnanimous in victory, as a lot of people are calling? What should be the disposition of the political actors at this time in our history? That's some of the questions or issues that we will be discussing on the program on today's edition of Good Morning Nigeria this Friday. I am Claire Adilabu Abdulrazak. Always a pleasure to have you join us on the program.
And I'm Kingsley Osadolo. I joined my colleague Claire to also welcome you to the program. Claire, I just need to probably add some line to what you said earlier about the historic phone call that at the time incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan made to his challenger, Muhammadu Buhari, who of course is now outgoing president. And that telephone call took place on the 31st of March 2015, and it was about 4:45 in the evening. And that was before the formal announcement and declaration of Muhammadu Buhari as winner of that election. So it was historic in every sense, because Goodluck Jonathan, then incumbent president, said that the trend showed quite clearly there was no way he was going to win that election going on. And of course, he had a number of persons around him at the presidential villa, and according to his own account in his memoirs, that's to say, my transition hours, he said at some point he took leave of those who were with him in the villa, went into his study and requested for that phone call. And Muhammadu Buhari, then candidate of APC, was surprised. There was silence on both sides, but of course it turned out to be a soothing balm on the country. So that's what happened 8 years ago, but this time around we understand there will be legal fireworks. Once again, we welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. We have our complimentary segments in the course of the program, and this will include business and newspaper review. Right now, Olajide Bello has the highlights of the morning news. Morning, Olajide.
Good morning, Kingsley. Good morning, Claire. And here is the morning news. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has been directed to submit a comprehensive report on the Maiduguri Monday market completely razed down by fire last weekend. President Muhammadu Buhari, who gave the directive while on a fact-finding unsympathy visit to the market, said this is necessary to enable the federal government take appropriate and adequate measures towards bringing succor to the victims.
On this note, let me once again express my deep appreciation to you for personally coming here to commiserate with the good people of Borno State.
Assessment is ongoing, Your Excellency. We have provided relief support in terms of food items.
In furtherance of federal government's commitment towards tackling power sector problems aimed at guaranteeing a stable as well as uninterrupted supply of electricity for enhanced socio-economic well-being, an emergency power project has been inaugurated in Maiduguri, Borno State. President Muhammadu Buhari, who performed the ceremony, said in fulfillment of its promise, his administration has laid a solid foundation for the strong and prosperous Nigeria through the National Energy Sufficiency Program.
The aggressive project strategy deployed to complete this project on schedule is a total reflection of the federal government's sensitivities in identifying and easing the plight of Nigerians, particularly those recovering from the adverse impact of the insurgency in the northeast region.
Things will continue to get better for people living with disabilities, especially with the execution of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Act signed by President Muhammadu Buhari 2019. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo said this when he received a delegation of the community of people living with disabilities in the FCT.
We believe that the right, it is right, as a matter of law, as a matter of government policy, and our government has a policy that we must make provision, we must provide for those who have disabilities and who for some reason or the other may not be able to work in a way that those who are fit in every way, who have no disabilities work.
President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu says the best way to thank his supporters and Nigerians for his victory in the just concluded presidential election is to work hard towards strengthening the unity of Nigerians. And the president-elect made the commitment as he received the National Working Committee (NWC) of his party, the All Progressives Congress, on a congratulatory visit.
I promise it's going to be a fair government, guided by the rule of law, justice, and fairness. It's going to be a hard work from day one, and we all together join hands to build a promise in Nigeria.
National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Adamu, says the party's victory at the presidential election for the third time within 10 years of its formation has showcased the development of democracy in Nigeria. He addressed the media at the party National Secretariat in Abuja, where he dedicated the party's presidential victory to all Nigerians.
The fact that we lost some major states
like Lagos, like Kaduna, like Nasarawa, and we didn't shed tears. We did not cry foul. Makes us the real political party in this country.
The presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, has announced his decision to challenge the results of the presidential election in court. This was during an interaction with newsmen in Abuja.
Let me humbly and most respectfully appeal to all Nigerians to remain peaceful, law-abiding, and conduct themselves in most responsible manner. Please be assured that Dati and I, and indeed all of us, this is not the end, but the beginning of the journey for a birth of new Nigeria.
Presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the just concluded 2023 general elections, Atiku Abubakar, has expressed displeasure with the results of the presidential election as announced by INEC. Atiku Abubakar was addressing the media in Abuja, where he said the party will be seeking legal means to challenge the outcome of the election.
The weekend election was neither free nor fair. Of course, our lawyers are studying the results, of the election, and we await for their advice. So whatever they advise, then the party will meet, and then we decide the next line of action.
The Social Democratic Party, SDP, says it stands with INEC on the declaration of the APC candidate Bola Tinubu as the winner of the 2023 presidential election. The party, however, expressed the willingness to contest the outcome of the National Assembly elections in court of law.
Despite the shortfall, as I have mentioned, beavers problem, transmission problem, we stand by the declaration pending the outcome of the court judgment.
INEC has assured Nigerians that the governorship and state house of assembly elections scheduled for Saturday 11th March 2023 will hold as scheduled, and all processes and procedures leading to the election are being finalized. A statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, indicates that the commission will conduct the rescheduled elections in Enugu and Edo states on Saturday 11th March 2023, along with the governorship and state assembly elections. The commission is aware that in some senatorial districts and federal constituencies, declarations and returns were not made. The commission is compiling the list of the affected constituencies. A date for supplementary elections will be fixed after the governorship and state assembly elections. And that's the news for now. Good morning, Nigeria continues with Kingsley and Claire after this timeout. Please don't go away.
Enjoy 50% discount off in the Airtel Home Broadband Season of Love offer. Buy a router for just 10,000 Naira and get up to 240GB, or a MiFi for 5,000 Naira and get up to 125GB bonus data. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by
Airtel, the smartphone network.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
All I need to say about the second River Niger Bridge, 21 years ago, as I came onto this throne, it will normally take you 3 to 4 hours to cross the bridge. I mean, if you are going to Lagos, you spent almost half your time on the bridge. And you were stuck on the bridge before you came across from Asaba this morning. Now, could you imagine how the people of Onitsha and Asaba have endured such a situation for over 25, 30 years? This is reality. So we cannot overestimate
the importance of the second River Niger bridge, to express appreciation to our President, Muhammad Buhari, for being the vehicle for the execution of this monumental project.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dssPR@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Swings it in, Havertz is there! Header! And Chelsea take the lead! By Greenwood. And the header was a good one. So Fernandes, Joe Felix, flag. Chelsea take the early lead in this London derby.
Oh, by Christensen, and straight away, what a hit! Rodrigo!
SportyBet sponsors coverage of the English Premier League.
All right, welcome back. It's a pleasure. If you've just joined in, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria live on the network service. Now to business news. Commercial 5G networks hit 229, and that's as 30 countries launched it in 2023. For details, let's join our correspondent Alika Apanachiarwa.
The Global System for Mobile Telecommunications Association, GSMA, has said 5G connections would double over the next 2 years, expedited by technological innovations and new network deployments in more than 30 countries in 2023 alone. On the new networks to be deployed in 2023, it is expected that 15 will be 5G standalone networks. The forecast from GSMA Intelligence, announced during Mobile World Congress, Barcelona 2023, points to a significant period of growth in terms of mobile subscribers and enterprise adoption. GSMA, which represents the interests of mobile operators worldwide, uniting over 750 operators with near 400 companies in the broader mobile ecosystem, noted that consumer connections surpassed 1 billion at the end of 2022 and would increase to around 1.5 billion this year before reaching 2 billion by the end of 2025. This momentum confirms 5G as the fastest generational rollout when compared to 3G and 4G. Now let's take a look at Thursday tradings on the floor of the exchange. business news. Alika Opanachi Arwa.
Many thanks, Alika Opanachi Arwa, for the business package. Coming up next is newspaper review.
All right. I'm sure you know why I'm beaming with smiles. The man boy or the boy man, Chukwudokode Gbaja, is right. It's good Fridays.
You're beaming with smiles because you would always threaten me with your diastema. You know what the diastema is?
No, don't tell me.
That's the gap in the teeth.
Don't go there.
Yes.
Don't go there. Kingsley.
You know, Kingsley has a way of leaving you to go haywire and chooks the boy.
All right, it's good
to
see
you.
Yes,
Claire. Good to
yes,
see you, Kingsley.
All right,
it's tea time for me.
Yes. Okay, let me start off. President-elect's mandate is Pan-African. That's the headliner on the nation's front page. And this is the party chair's view, defense polls integrity. Now, those are the riders. US, UK hail Tinubu's victory. You can read more about this on page 4. President-elect's mandate is Pan-Nigerian, says Adamu. That's the frontliner. And you see the picture story of the head of the Commonwealth Observer Mission to Nigeria and former President of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, during his visit to President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Abuja, and that happened yesterday. Now, in case you missed out on how the elections or the polls went across the country, you can take a look at how Tinubu fared in geographical zones. It's on the front page of the nation right there, all the way from the south, south, southeast, southwest, north central, northeast, and northwest. It's also right there. Now, just beneath that graphic display, Obi can't be president, says Atiku. He took PDP votes. LP candidate, I'm heading to court. Again, I want to take that. Obi can't be president, and that is according to Atiku Abubakar. He says he took PDP's votes. Now, the LP candidate says, I'm heading to court. So, a bit above the nameplate, the federal government lifts victims of Maiduguri market fire. Details of that on page 27. Power supply, NNPCL ministry to collaborate. It's on page 25. And Supreme Court judgment today in Naira redesign suit APC's reconciliation panel to meet Atiku, Ubi, and Kwankwaso. Okay, I think that's all about it from the front page of the nation.
Well, also the front page of the Punch has politics majorly on it. And then the lead story says Atiku Obi refused to concede defeat, begin legal battle. With two riders, I defeated Tinubu and Atiku, and I will recover mandate in court, says Obi. PDP LP presidential candidates lost. We will meet in court. That's according to the APC PCC. You saw the photographs there of the two presidential candidates who are challenging the outcome of last Saturday's presidential election. An earpiece beside the name flag says Yakasai differs as Ezefe faults Tinubu's emergence. Bank customers borrowed 947 billion naira amid cash crunch. Buhari visits Maiduguri market, opens projects. Fayose dumps PDP, says Atiku misleading, says Ayu misleading Atiku. I take that again. Fayose dumps PDP, says Ayu misleading Atiku. You have details on page 18. Chooks.
Kingsley, thank you very much. There are two things you do in the newsroom essentially. You either report the news as it happens, or you commission a few eggheads to do an editorial position on what's happening in the polity. Atiku Obi refused to concede defeat, begin legal battle. So the two main opposition political parties in the 25th February presidential election say they will go to court. And I say democracy grows in Nigeria. But before I toe the judicial line, let me say, now, I'm saying this because some people are drunk on the magic of what dialogue can achieve. I'm not dismissing, therefore, at all, a scenario where the president invites all parties in the contest to a meeting to say, ladies and gentlemen. I included ladies because I know that Claire would not let me go free if I concentrate on only gentlemen. So the president says, ladies and gentlemen, I have already expressed reservations about how some aspects of the election went. My opinion is that though there seem to have been infractions here and there, they were and are not enough to invalidate the vote. But rather than engage in recriminations, can we bury the hatchet and see if we can commit the incoming administration to further sanitizing of the electoral process? Africa has a way of settling disputes. I'm not so drunk on English that I forget how matters got, handled at the village square in the Ogwa, where I come from. Now, nobody has really implicated the beavers in all of this. What we're dealing with is a situation where delayed upload of results created suspicion of underhand dealings. Nobody has proved anything yet. Now, where dialogue fails and the court option persists, I say, no problem. How transparent and believable will the court process and verdict turn out? Everything hinges on what? Credibility. Are we going to emerge from all this with proof that the Nigerian judiciary has grown more robust and trustworthy? A big task ahead of us. And because this is newspaper review, what is the newsroom's role in all of this? Is the editorial going to concentrate on why Peter Obi should not accept dialogue, or why Asiwaju should damn all sides and start picking his cabinet? A lot depends on the media at this point, but it depends on how much the media treats its own relevance to the health of the polity.
It's very interesting that you're bringing up the media. In all of the conversation that I've had on the past election, I'm yet to see, any resource person that have either credited the media, the role of the media.
That's because of where the media took itself in this country.
No, but the media played a very significant role, especially in terms of educating, the Nigerian electorate prior to the elections.
Claire.
The media did a lot.
Claire.
The media has done a lot.
We haven't come here to beat our own chest.
No, but we must say
let me say
if you don't beat your chest, who will
Claire, please. We are talking, we are arguing on the same line.
Yeah.
I haven't come here to beat my chest. I left the newsroom a rather disgruntled man because my journalism got threatened. But if I return to this country again, and I hope it's this country I return to,
you didn't go to court, did you?
I am going to be a journalist still. That the Nigerian public refuses to admit that the media is at the center of shaping the health of society, and even its maladies, does not dismiss a universal fact. It depends on what the media has been doing to itself and the country. Believability, credibility is everything. I'm sorry, Kingston, don't be embarrassed. The first thing I did when I came here was I looked at you and said, Rutam House. The Guardian was a compass for me at a point in the development of
what are your expectations now at this point from the media?
I want to see how much we can show that we are the first social engineers. And that all the
in terms of our news constructs?
In terms of how we treat what some people call a crisis after the elections. The media is everything. It depends on how much you either denigrate yourself or stand up to be counted in the development of your country.
Well, it's understandable that because we have a number of stories on politics, more particularly the outcome of the presidential and National Assembly elections, the review is taking this tack that our reviewer has adopted this morning. But I think that from my own point of view, the notification, as it were, by at least two of the candidates in last Saturday's election to challenge the outcome is well within their rights.
Oh, sure.
It's well within their rights. The president-elect has already extended the olive branch to say, come, join me, let's take our country forward. But they are saying no, that they are questioning the legitimacy of his declaration as president-elect. It's well within their right. The other issue, though, and this has been the subject of a very well publicized journal article in academia, particularly with regard to election jurisprudence. And the title is the judicialization of pure politics. That the courts in most parts of the world have more and more stepped into the political arena to determine the winners of election, to determine who leads the country or who is a leader and so on and so forth, rather than the power residing in the voter, that is to say the electorate. That election matters are settled more and more in courts. And Nigeria has become so litigious that you find virtually every case. I mentioned sometime last week that the president of the Court of Appeal raised an alarm and said that the Court of Appeal was swamped with over 600 appeals arising from the conduct of primaries. This was before the votes were cast last Saturday. 600 appeals. And I mentioned also there are 20 divisions of the Court of Appeal. 20 divisions of the Court of Appeal. Assuming you were to as portion those 600 appeals to each of the divisions, that would be 30 appeals per division. How much time do you have to go over those things, and you are time bound to deliver your decision before you proceed for that? And don't forget, one of the justices of the Court of Appeal in Akure, slumped in his office, which is called the chamber, and passed away. So it is the litigation, the lack of internal democracy in the parties, and so on and so forth. But if a candidate says, look, I don't agree with the outcome of this election, and they are also appealing for camp, and they want to go to court, that's fine. It doesn't stop the process, or stop the process of saying, you have a president-elect. The president-elect is proceeding. Before now, if you remember, President Muhammadu Buhari had already signed the executive order for the establishment of a transition committee that would assist the incumbent administration. That committee is headed by the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. So the process is going on. So the transition is apace, and by the 29th of May, 29th of May, not 12th of June, as some people have been saying, it's 29th of May this year, the president will be sworn in, barring any legal restraint. That's the way it goes. Those who are in court will continue to process their matters in court, but they have appealed for camp, and the key thing is that people are not breaking their heads on the streets.
Yes.
All right, Kingsley.
Wonderful.
And well,
you know, Claire, you know what you just said?
Yes.
You know what the other time we said, how many policemen can you really deploy to rein in behavior by a decidedly disorderly society or community?
Yes, Chooks, also, just to add before we round up, that again, our laws also create, some form of ambiguity, which gives room for a plethora of, interpretations, and that's why we are here, because one party is pointing at a section of the Electoral Act, another party is pointing at a section of the Electoral Act. I mean, which section of the Electoral Act? You
were not here when we talked about how a conjunction could be the problem about 24 states and Abuja.
And the FCT.
and Kingsley brought in a preposition.
All
I
right.
didn't know he was a teacher.
Tuesday boy, always a pleasure to have you with us.
You didn't know I was a teacher.
All right. Please have yourself a pleasant weekend. We'll see you.
We'll see you. But I think this is clear. I'm sorry. I know that we are out of time. But just to point out, page 14 of the Punch, we're not going to have time to discuss this. A judge, an Ekiti High Court judge, Justice Babajide Alade-Jona, has been reinstated to office after 16 years of suspension by the National Judicial Council. And this was on account of his alleged role in the impeachment of Fayose. If you remember, during those days, 2006, there was a state of emergency that was imposed on Ekiti on account of his alleged role in that he was suspended, and now they have reviewed his case. 16 years later,
well,
he's back to office.
The judiciary is the last hope for the common man.
Yes,
and the uncommon man.
And John Kingsley left out one very important headline.
Chukwudi, you don't have time. Let's go for a short break.
Article says...
Candidates who are interested in gaining admission into NTA Television College JOS for the 2022-2023 two-year National Innovation Diploma Program are to apply for admission through the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB. Courses available at the college include Film and Television Production, Broadcast Journalism, and Television Engineering Technology. Interested candidates must have a minimum of 5 O-level credits in relevant subjects including English and mathematics. They must also have a minimum score of 100 in the 2022 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME. For more information, please contact NTA Television College JOS or the Marketing Department of any NTA station nationwide. Registrar, Announcer.
The Council of Our Fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
SportyBet sponsors coverage of the Italian Serie A.
Every day in our country, senior citizens are discriminated against, disparaged, and treated with disdain by those who ought to respect them. We are all complicit in the way we have treated the elderly members of our society as institutions, families, or members of a shared society. Every time senior citizens get offered less than they deserve for the work they do because they are old, poor, and desperate, we are failing them. Senior citizen loses a child, and wow, they must be responsible for their death. Every time a senior citizen gets labeled a witch, is called mad, and shooed out of the way because they have no memory of where they were headed and look unkempt, we are failing them. We say, abeg, it all old, make it do die, make everybody for rest. To ailing parents, uncles and aunts. That's discrimination. That is neglect. When you see an old woman getting beat up and being accused of witchcraft, do not turn the other way. Stop and teach people that white hairs, wrinkles and hunchbacks are no evidence of witchcraft. Aging comes with a memory decline. Sometimes it's not out of place to have elderly people lose their way, forget details of their lives, and how to properly take care of themselves. When they get to this stage, they deserve your empathy, not scorn. Our ailing fathers, mothers, aunties, and uncles are deserving of quality healthcare and peaceful transition. Make their last moments memorable. Senior citizens have paid their dues. They deserve your care. Stop all forms of discrimination against them today.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. We're live on the network service of Africa's largest television network, the Nigerian Television Authority. Now, before we commence our conversation, which is a continuation of a review of the presidential elections, let's listen into this background put together by our correspondent, Kene Ndulue, and it's, of course, with excerpts from the first part of the discussion yesterday.
There's no time also since 1999 that we've had three strong parties on the ballot. Three almost equally strong parties in their regions on the ballot. This is the simple reason. And that's why you can see that there was also no time since 1999 where you have had the second and third coming neck to neck too. None. This is the first time. So what it simply means, and I don't know why Nigerians did not see this, we saw it coming. It was a long and tortuous journey, but it was easy for us to see our path to victory. Why? Because the second and the third and the fourth, they all split from one yoke. They were all in PDP. People are refusing to see that. So there was no way they would have defeated a party that was together as one.
I will agree with you that this is the highest number of registered voters that came out willing to vote. Now, people have these emotions or these expectations that they will be stopped to vote. But I can tell you, every party came out there to vote for their candidate. And APC, I can tell you for a fact, did not suppress anyone to vote. People were just eager. First of all, Beavers is something that is brand new, introduced into Nigeria. Now you're telling someone, oh, you need to have patience, get your fingerprints, get your pictures, and they're getting all agitated already.
The whole idea of voter suppression, violence, and so on. Yes, we can argue that they are not widespread. I think the reports from the media doesn't really show that they are widespread. But the irregularity that could occur within that interval, which the technology was supposed to have taken care of, we didn't succeed in getting that. And that's why a lot of conspiracy theories are now becoming prevalent among the public.
All right, there you have it, the first segment of the review of the 2023 February 25th Presidential National Assembly elections in Nigeria. We're continuing with that review, and of course our guests are all seated here in the studio. So let me begin the introductions with Ayobami Oyalowo, who of course was a very regular face on Verdict 2023 studios of the NTA. He's a development economist, and it's my pleasure to have him here again on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
We also have here joining us Barrister Hannatu Musawa. Barrister Musawa is the Deputy Spokesperson and Deputy Director, Public Affairs of the Tinubu Shetima Campaign Council. Also a pleasure to have the beautiful face here with us this morning.
Thank you for having me this morning, Ms. Claire. Thank you.
Now, two other guests who are also in the studios this morning, Aliyu Audu, National Youth Spokesperson of the Tinubu Shetima Campaign Council. Aliyu, we're glad to have you this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And last but not the least is the Reverend Dominic Alancha, is the Special Assistant Youth and Civil Society Mobilization to the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps. The Reverend Dominic, we're glad to have you on the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as you listen to the background, we started this conversation yesterday, and incidentally, our guests here virtually have an affiliation with the victorious party in last Saturday's presidential election. Beginning with Hannatu Musawa, what are your takeaways from last Saturday's presidential elections?
I think, again, thank you for having me on the show this morning. I think there's been many, many takeaways. I think what we saw last Saturday was really democracy in a play. And I think from the experiences that we all had last Saturday, Nigeria has come out better for it. Because for the first time in a very long time, we saw a situation where you had a second, a third, even a fourth force in a way that completely changed the political map of Nigeria. And I think Nigerians feel more empowered by the fact that they have the power to really speak to what their future is going to hold. I'm so glad that we went into this exercise in the way we did. It was challenging for everyone, and we've come out of it with a victor, which is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC. And I'm very excited to see what he's going to bring to the table, because I think he is a man that has a vision that will bring the sort of innovation and the sort of progress that Nigeria really needs. Last Saturday was challenging for every single one of us. But at the end of the day, I think Nigeria is much, much better for going through that experience.
All right. I just take the question to Ayobami, and a lot of people, the president-elect has been receiving congratulatory messages, especially from, different countries, most particularly from the U.S., Britain, and, other countries we have bilateral relations. But I'd just like to point out the expression of the U.S., Secretary of State for the Department of Foreign Affairs, that's Ned Price. He said that this was a competitive election, and that it was a new experience in terms of politics and democracy for Nigeria. It was particularly, an exciting experience. Those are not his words, but, just to sum what he had said. Now, given the commendations that have come so far, what do you make of this election, comparatively with our past?
Yeah, what I make out of it is that what we experienced last Saturday is pure democracy in action. And it doesn't matter what some people are trying to pour in the mud. You can see that there was this transparency about the election, and I'll explain that. Transparency in the sense that before, some states will just bring 1.5 million, 2 million votes, but you can see, I think the highest vote that anybody polled, singular person, was in Kano, and that was less than 1 million votes, which is not what we used to have. If you cast your mind back to 2007, we had a voter population of about 22 million or 28 million for only one party then, the PDP then. But today, no party has caught up to 10 million in this election. So it tells you that fictitious figures have been removed because of the beavers, which means if you are not accredited, you can't sit in a room like they used to do before and write numbers. Now you have to make sure that whatever numbers you are bringing to the table is corresponding to the number of people that were accredited. So what this election has done is that it has brought some sanity into our voting pattern. And like Barrister Anatu said, you can see how the distribution of the election went. The voter map has been completely changed. The winner got just 12 states where he completely won. The second runner, the first runner-up got 12 states too. And the third person also got 11 states plus Abuja. So meaning there was no fictitious or this strange kind of number. The only difference from the winner and the rest is that it had more spread. He had more spread, he had more 25% in more places. He was able to move around, not just within his region. He was able to touch it. So that's what made the difference. And what this now does to Nigeria is that you begin to take the electorate seriously. You now realize that they know their power. They know that they can make the difference. And everybody can now be rest assured that our votes have started to count.
Okay. Thank you, Ayobami. Ali Audu, your takeaways.
Okay, I think it's the Saturday election has just proven to us that Nigeria's existence is not accidental. Then we must be very grateful to the people who put our constitution together. The two-third majority, the 25% in two-third of the states. We've seen how important it is because we live in a country that is that's not homogeneous, either in ethnicity or in religion. And in order to establish a government, You know, there's need for that spread. There's need for that level of acceptance, minimum level of acceptance in 2/3 of the states, which sort of confirm that you are not a sectional leader, you're not a regional leader, or a leader for a particular thing. And like Ayobami said, it has shown us that there is power in our votes. It has shown us that our vote counts. And it has also taught people in authority lessons, you know, especially the governing party, the APC, my party, I mean. We've taken this battle from the point of APC rebirth as to where we need to start to be responsible for our, not subject, for the people who give us power, who have given us mandate. You know, it is not by how powerful we are, it's the